Hello again, everyone. So we saw last time the Bean post processors and how they take action as soon as the defined beans are instantiated. And today I would like to talk about the BeanFactory post processors. So once you define your configuration class with your different beans or your XML file with your beans, Spring reads these files and creates what is called bean definitions. So these are not the instances of the beans that we will use in our application, but it's an intermediate step. So they are created and then they are handed to you to give you the possibility to override or to add some values to your bean definition, to your beans. So you have your email service, for example, where you inject some template and you would like to override this and you want to give other values without touching your XML file or without touching your configuration files. And the tool that Spring gives you to do such things are called the BeanFactoryPostProcessor. So before creating our own BeanFactoryPostProcessor, let's see the provided interface. So it contains only one method, postprocess BeanFactory, which gives you your application context where your beans are defined. So as you can see, all bean definitions will have been loaded at this stage when you call a method, but no beans will have been created yet, instantiated. You are able to perform some changes in your bean definitions before Spring finally creates them. So this allows for overriding and adding properties. So let's create our own BeanFactory post processor. Then we have our application context, which is a BeanFactory as argument. So let's play with it. Let's get the bean definition. Of our email service, for example. So basically you give it the bean name, which is this one. I have my bean definition. Get my properties. And let's override the template property. And we give it a null. So for those of you who didn't see the previous video, I'll present you the email service. So it has only two attributes, options and template. The template is also created in the configuration class and injected with a setter. So we inject a real instance of this template. And what we are doing here, we say, okay, Spring, please only inject null instead of what we defined in this class. Of course, and the last step is to create our bean. And for the same reason as before, as the post processor, we have to make it static. So again, for those who didn't see the previous video, the same as the Bean postprocessor, the BeanFactory postprocessor has to be defined as static. I mean the Bean definition in the configuration. Why? Because as a rule, we want our Bean postprocessors and BeanFactory postprocessors to be created before every other beans, especially this configuration itself. So we make sure that we annotate it with static, so it's loaded before instantiation of this class. Oops. Okay, our BeanFactory postprocessor is created. We will have a null injected as we have defined in our factory Bean postprocessor. Let's see. And we have a null. And just before finishing the video, I would like that you give attention to this method here. So if you take your BeanFactory and you call for the bean itself. So this way you are asking your application context to give you the email service bean, not the bean definition, so the bean itself. And you know now that the email service is not yet created. It will be created way later. So what this will cause? It will cause a premature instantiation of your email service bean. And this will violate the concept of the BeanFactory postprocessor. So I take here the official documentation of Spring. So if you want to change the actual Bean instances, then you instead need to use a Bean postprocessor. And for the BeanFactory postprocessor, why it's technically possible to work with Bean instances within the factory postprocessor, doing so causes premature Bean instantiation, violating the standard container lifecycle, and this may cause negative side effects. Okay, so I hope it helps. Thank you very much.